It's great because it has some lean to it, but it also has some marbling, so it has some good flavor. So I had somebody call me yesterday and said that they have a customer who wants a porterhouse with no vein sticks. So the problem with that is this.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
Tell everybody gets engaged.
All right.
Ready when you are.
So the problem is the end of the strip loin, where the tenderloin is fattest, has all the vein in it. So really, there's going to be only one out of the whole loin that would like fall into that. What I'm going to do is we're going to break down the tenderloin, and then we'll quickly discuss the strip loin and the tenderloin. And you need to have a bandsaw to like cut all those porterhouses too. So. Alright, so there's our tenderloin right there. Obviously we got some excess fat on there in the chain, but we'll like go through a demo and clean that in just a second. And then the strip loin. Can everybody see that vein that I'm talking about right there? You should. So the strip loin, we're just going to take off this right here. That's our back strap right there. And then we're just going to come right down along the bone. We were out of stock on flex.
Shit.
Yeah, you know that's not true. All right, so then we're just going to ride right down this bone. Take the strip right off. These usually weigh about 18 to 22 pounds. And when I worked in a steakhouse and we did have a bandsaw, you could get about 3 nice porterhouses out of it. And then the rest of what we would cut, we call it Kansas City strips. So that's just a bone-in New York strip. And Russ will show you a couple of those right there.
Pass that around.
What did you do with the little piece of tender that you had left?
That was mine. Took it out. Yeah.
Guys, are all some of the non-traditional names, are they consistent throughout the country? Do people play games calling things, or is there like a master list you could say, this cut truly is this cut, there's no room for interpretation?
There's room for interpretation everywhere, because a lot of people, like a boneless ribeye, they don't mind it. And then some people are like, well, actually, it's a boneless ribeye that has lip off. So I mean, like, everybody's got like their own little perception on what it is exactly. So another thing that we can do is remove the strip loin, rip this bone right down here on the spinal column, and cut tenderloins out of it. So we have like a bone-in filet mignon. And what that would do is like the bone would kind of slow down the cooking process, like add a little bit more flavor to it, because the tenderloin is probably the least flavorful, but adds a little bit of plate presentation, adds probably $5 or $6 to the menu item as well. So that's like an option right there. And then, did you show them that Kansas City strip already?
Yeah, it's coming around. Did everybody see it? We'll put it up here.
And then with that, we would just rip right down the spinal cord, take the fillet off, and then just right down there with the bandsaw and get the Kansas City strip. So it's got the bone right along here and a little bit of china on the end. So that's a nice steak right there. It's probably about 20 ounces. All right, so then this right here would be like stock, or just go in the trash like that. So when I trained on the band,
That was my EBITDA right there, man.
what's that? It's a clean trash bag. So it's a great question. So when we had a bandsaw, like I said, we would get about 3 porterhouses. We would get about 6 or 7 Kansas City strips, 2 12-ounce fillets, and usually 2 8-ounce fillets out of the whole thing. And I think the yield on that was between 65 and 68%, which is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you got the man hours, the bandsaw,
Sure.
and hopefully not any band-aids or scissors or anything like that. Yeah. Yeah, when I trained on the bandsaw, the chef said, hey, there's one chef in the company with 9 fingers, don't do the second one. I always remember that. All right, so the tenderloin, what we're gonna do is, do you have like one more little?
Yes, I do.
What do you guys think the yield is on the tenderloin? We'll like write it down on our board, but the yield on taking a tenderloin from the whole loin to center cut steaks.
What percentage?
We're ready. All right,
Shot. Mickey?
Hey, this is the difference between winning and losing right here.
It's
57.
54.
Yeah. So this right here is a 189A. Sorry, I should have left that all together, but it's got a little bit of fat on top. It's got the chain still on the side. This is the chain right on here. There's 3 muscles at the head. Like another nickname for this one's clean would be like a Chateaubriand, which again would be a steak for 2. Then to Frank's point, some people, the Chateaubriand is only this center cut barrel right here. So it just matters where you are and what part of the country and stuff. But typically for a center cut steak, we just take off this 3rd muscle right here. And you got your chefs that are gonna be like, oh, I use that to grind and make my own beef. So we're gonna go ahead and pretend that we're doing that, and we'll save that. The rest of the chain, some people may take the time to try to seam all that out, but there's a lot of like intermuscular fibers and tendons and stuff like that in there that are just virtually unpalatable. So typically you don't even mess with that right there. Plus, if you do try to grind it, it usually jams up your grinder. So we'll go ahead and just kind of clean this. A lot of this fat just like slides right off of there. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna like take off all the silver skin and just try to leave as much meat on as we can, because that's all the money right there. It's with that yield percentage that you guys came up with a $10 tenderloin, basically every ounce is $1. So, and then we were talking about saving labor and stuff like that. Typically, you're not gonna have a $10 an hour line cook doing something like this. Like, and then again, you don't wanna have like your high-paid chef or sous chef doing it. I mean, you don't want them just stuck doing this all the time. During some times of the year, it might be like the best thing for them to be doing to like save money for the restaurant, but hopefully when they're really jamming at Christmas and stuff, they're like out there being operators instead of, you know, just little Gilligan's back there cutting steaks. So we'll take just a little bit of this off the bottom, but then when I go to cut my steaks, I'll leave some of that fat on there so I can cut a little bit heavy and then have areas of opportunity to bring it down. It's usually a little bit of connective tissue right there. Take that off. And so this right here, plus this, take it off usually. This would be basically a steak ready tender. So from going to 189A, this is now the 190, all right? So this is something that we also have that some chefs may want to have so they can skip that whole process right there. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is cut 8-ounce fillets. We used to, I'm gonna go for the center cuts, but one thing we used to do at Sullivan's that was a money maker is we would butterfly this tail piece. So when you get people that want well done steaks in the restaurant, this is gonna have a little bit more fat in it, so when it does cook up, it's not gonna be quite as dry. Or if you're gonna do like an Oscar style, like crab meat béarnaise on top or melt blue cheese on it, you can kind of disguise the fact that it's a butterfly there. Also, we would like train the servers to like Sanders' point. Hey, how do you want your steak? Well done. All right. Hey, would you like the chef to butterfly that for you so it doesn't get too charged? Oh my gosh, thank you so much. No problem. Bam, got you. There we go. All right. So there's a butterfly steak. Exactly 8 ounces, I'm sure. We'll just cut like all center cuts out of here. What grade was this one, Russ?
I think that was XL Choice is what I believe it was. No real XL.
Yeah, exactly. And usually right around that third muscle, there's gonna be a little bit of extra fat right there.